money works. Are you ready? Because I'm going to explain something to you that is very important at the tail end.
You need to tell them what each sign says.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
This elephant is a piggy bank that has no money in it. Okay. I actually unboxed it this morning. This is a piggy bank. This is what a local church would consider a monthly budget. We need this piggy bank to be full to do our monthly budget, which comprises of these 4 areas. So let me just show you how this works. I guess I'll read the areas. This is giving. The amount of money in this bucket gets sent out to the world, to other people and other ministries we're partnering with. This money with my logo I drew right there is the mortgage. That is the monthly payment for this building that I despise, but it's there anyway, nor did I choose this. Just always remember that, okay? I did not choose this. I inherited this. Okay, thank you. Mortgage. Operations are the bills. The Clico bill is only $2,500 and about 15 other bills in here. And then this is the stick figures of the people whose livelihood is in salaries. This is myself, Kayla, Jamie, Maddie Shorter. Derek is not smiling, but he's there. Rich and Kristen, and then the tall one's Brandon, okay? So these are the people, these are the leaders of the church. Paul says that this bucket should be compensated well for having to deal with all of you. That's actually what he says. I can promise you it's never been well, but this is what exists, okay? So these 4 buckets exist here. Do we understand? Yeah. So let's say you get paid every 2 weeks. Let's do an even number. Let's say you get paid $500 a week. That's 1,000. 500 plus 500 is? Okay.
1,000.
My personal belief is that tithing is a baseline to giving. Remember what Nehemiah said, that we do not neglect the house of the Lord, or we don't neglect the work of the Lord. This is a family, so we all have responsibility. You'll find nowhere in Scripture where not one person has no responsibility to give into what the Lord's doing, okay? That's just facts, so let's just say it for what it is. What's 10% of 1,000?
100.
You know, I learned percentages by tithe. I didn't know percentages and I always start at 10, and I can figure out any percentage now. Even 50% I struggled with at a time. So let's pretend that this is only $4 I took out of Madison's piggy bank because I don't have any cash. So this is $4. It worked out perfectly. When you give to your house, to the local church, it goes into this piggy bank. This piggy bank, then, I'm giving, and it goes into the piggy bank, and Kristen and Maddie, and we're all giving into this piggy bank. Yay! At the end of the month, the money then goes into the buckets that it takes for the needs of the house, into these buckets, just like this, okay? So every time that you give money, it's going into one of these 4 buckets. Here's the good news. I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, you could.
Here's the good news. For many years, this thing was busting at the seams. Where you had to shove the money back in the bank. It was extravagant and wild. So what happens to the money that is overfilling the monthly budget? Well, that goes into a glory bucket that's invisible. That's called the God ideas. So in that bucket is a 5th bucket that I just didn't think that far because I only got it this morning. That sits right here that goes, what's God saying? So part of that would be like this. Part of that would be look around. Part of that would be the prayer room. Part of that would be all the things that God's speaking specifically can come from this little bucket, which is our financial margin. Okay. This is why I said I only want to do it once. When the piggy bank is not full, these areas need to start decreasing in the amount for us to be able to live. This right here is unchanging because it is literally 10% of everything, so you can't change that. This I didn't ask for. I did not pick this building. Did we clarify that? Yeah. This is $7,900 a month. That is not going down, and I got to pay on it 25 more years. So this, I talked about that last November. That's why it's important to come to the year in reviews. Can't change. It can only actually go up.
But it hasn't.
Okay, but it hasn't. So that leads 2 buckets. Your bills and the livelihood of these wonderful, beautiful stick figures. Okay? Last year, there was a 10% decrease from the piggy bank. So what me and Jamie and Kayla and the elders decided was we should not hurt the people whose livelihood depends on this, but that we will cut this back as much as we can. Cool. So that's done. So this year, there's a 20% decrease from the piggy bank. So that means 30% in 2 years of that piggy bank. And we can't do anything with these 3 buckets anymore. So we come to the livelihood of these wonderful stick figures. So now, which is why I wanted to share this, these people in this bucket has been reduced by an amount that I will not tell you unless you come to the year in review, because it is significant. So what this means for all of us is not for me to shame and guilt you into giving into that piggy bank, but to just show you the reality of where we're at. So most everybody on here, one's secondary income is a golf course, one's secondary income is cutting hair, one's secondary income is being a teacher, but then you have 5 other people who don't have a secondary income. Well, that's all changing. So what this means now moving forward is myself and Kayla and Derek, maybe Maddie and Jamie, if she so chooses, are all going to need other jobs. So here's what that means. Our availability and our time to do what we were doing is going to be significantly reduced. So it gets back to everything that we were talking about before. I need to get my $4 back from Madison, by the way. It goes back to what we were saying. We need the family to start picking on the load of things to make these things tick and things to start happening. So it doesn't just rest on the people who get compensated anymore, okay? Our availability when you need us or when everything is pretty much who knows. But we're not going to be around as much because all of us have kids and that we need to provide for. All of us have been called here, and none of us are leaving yet. It's just the fact of the matter. But this is our livelihood, okay? So now we have to do other things so that we can support our families. So, I share all that to say, I'll tell you the wonderful numbers and the real deep part of this on January 17th. But I wanted to share with you how the money works. I know this is kind of a simple analogy, but I think hopefully it resonates with you. This is why it's so incredibly important that we all contribute financially to what the Lord's doing. I know things are tight, okay? I know. Yes, I get a salary here. I give a substantial amount of money here. And I still have to literally raise a family. So I understand when the house insurance prices, all those things went up, and there's no shame and guilt. I'll never compromise what I give based on my life needs, but I'm not giving any shame or guilt for anybody else, because that's between you and the Lord. Here's the significance. If this continues over the trajectory of time, how we gather is going to be significantly changed. Whether it's the stick figures or whether it's the place that we're sitting and standing, okay? So we'll have a deeper conversation about that moving forward, but I really want to just propel you in the middle of your chest right now that we need every single person who calls this family. If you don't, I'm actually not talking to you. We need everyone to contribute together so that we can continue to do what the Lord's doing. Cool? Yep. You like my analogy? Yep. Let me take my $4 back before Charlie gets little those mischievous hands. This is a double cheeseburger at McDonald's these days. All right.